Volcanoes National Park Rwanda is one of the 3 homes of the endangered mountain gorillas within the Virunga Mountains. It features all you need to know about the park and everything in it, including wildlife, gorilla safaris, vegetation, volcanoes, Dian Fossey tomb, among others. We also offer travel tips including how to book gorilla permits, what to wear for gorilla trekking, best time to visit Rwanda and accommodation in Rwanda. A gorilla tour to Volcanoes National Park is a purely life-changing experience which rewards travelers with a close encounter to our wild cousins, the endangered mountain gorillas with whom we share 98% of our DNA. Gorilla tracking tours in Volcanoes National Park lead visitors to the park's 12 habituated gorilla groups. These include Susa, Amahoro, Sabyinyo, Agashia, Umuabano, Kwitanda, among others. Volcanoes National Park is a stop center for all Rwanda gorilla safaris, sheltering the highest number of mountain gorillas in the Virunga Conservation Area. The strategic location of the VNP, roughly 2 hours drive from Kigali International Airport, make it the most accessible gorilla national park in the world. Besides gorillas, Volcanoes National Park is a home for golden monkeys, a variety of birds, reptiles, amphibians, and insects, among other creatures, which together make a complete Rwanda safari package. Spanning on a 160 sq.km area in the northern part of Rwanda, Volcanoes National Park is part of the Great Virunga Volcano Conservation Region, spanning to cover Virunga National Park Congo and Gahinga Gorilla National Park in Uganda. It was initially a small area around Karisimbi, Mgahinga, and Bisoke volcanoes, which was gazetted to protect the mountain gorillas which were facing the threat of extinction as a result of poaching. In 1929, Volcanoes National Park was extended into Rwanda and the then Belgian Congo and was named Albert National Park, managed and run by the Belgian colonial authorities. During the early 1960s, the park was divided as Rwanda and Congo gained their independence, and by the end of that decade, the park was almost half of its original size. In 1967, the American primatologist Dian Fossey, who had been doing research on mountain gorillas in the forests of Congo, fled from insecurity and established her research base at a place between Bisoke and Karisimbi volcanoes that was yet to be known as Karisoke Research Center. She spearheaded the conservation campaign of the mountain gorillas and mobilized resources to fight against poaching in this area, a fight she put up until her murder in 1985. She was buried at the research center next to the grave of her favorite gorilla called Digit. The park continued to suffer at the mercies of poachers, though conservation efforts were also underway. In the early 1990s, the park became a battlefield for Rwanda's civil war, which paralyzed tourism activities until 1999. In 2005, in a bid to boost conservation and gorilla tours in Volcanoes National Park, Rwanda introduced the annual baby naming ceremony for baby gorillas known as Karisimbi, which has seen great results in as far as gorilla population in volcanoes is concerned. In addition to mountain gorillas, gorilla Virunga, Volcanoes National Park is home to golden monkeys, Cercopithecus midascanthi, spotted hyena, Crocuta, buffaloes, Syncerus cafeer, elephants, black-fronted duiker, Cephalophus niger, and bushbuck, Triglaphus scriptus. The park also harbors 178 bird species, including at least 29 endemics to Rwenzori Mountains and the Virungas. Golden monkeys trekking takes place in Volcanoes National Park and at the same time 7 o'clock, just like gorillas. These rare species are also listed as endangered, and Volcanoes National Park currently has 2 habituated golden monkeys troops that are available for visiting by tourists in the park, both of which make about 80 members. Golden monkeys in Rwanda live in the bamboo vegetation towards the base of the volcanoes, and habituation has helped them to overcome their initial shyness to accept their daily visit by researchers and tourists. Trekking golden monkeys and gorillas is a similar experience, in a small group of no more than 8 people, and you can spend 1 hour with the monkeys once you find them. The endangered species are very active creatures, and jump from tree to tree, which is really interesting and a little difficult to photograph. The Golden Monkey Trek is worth going for while in Volcanoes National Park, and if you're interested in wildlife, This is a rare and delightful experience not to be missed. Besides Volcanoes National Park, the other population of golden monkeys reside in Gahinga Gorilla National Park in Kisoro District, southwestern Uganda. A hike to Dian Fossey tomb has presently become a not miss on every Rwanda safari to Volcanoes National Park. Dian Fossey was an American primatologist and anthropologist who committed her life to the conservation of the mountain gorilla by conducting an 18-year comprehensive study about the fateful ape. Having been raised with dejection and lack of parental love from the stepfather following her mother's divorce with her father, Dian found love and comfort with the animals. At the age of 6, Dian Fossey horse rating before she worked on a farm with her hospital friend after graduating with a bachelor's degree in occupational therapy from San Jose State College in 1954. With the support and funding from Louis and Mary Leakey, who were operating anthropological research in Old Uve Gorge in Tanzania, Dian found her way into Democratic Republic of Congo, where she established her camp at Kabara to begin her study about the mountain gorillas in 1967. On July 9, 1967, soldiers arrived at the camp to escort her and her research workers down, and she was locked up at Rumangabo for 2 weeks. Fossey eventually escaped through bribery to Walter Baumgartel's Travelers Rest Hotel in Kisoro, where her escort was arrested by the Ugandan military. With the advice from Leakey, Dian gave up going back to Congo and started her research on the Rwandan side of the Virungas, where she established her camp at a place between Mt Karisimbi and Bisoke, which was to later be known as Karisoke after combining the two names, Karisimbi and Bisoke. On September 24, 1967, Fossey founded the Karisoke Research Center, a remote rainforest camp nestled in Ruhengeri province in the saddle of two volcanoes, Bisoke and Karisimbi, at an elevation of about 3,000 meters, 9,800 feet, up Mount Bisoke and covering an area of 25 square kilometers, 9.7 square miles. Unlike the mountain gorillas in Congo, the Rwandan mountain gorillas had never been habituated and only knew humans for poaching, which made them fearful to human presence, hence making it hard for Dian to study them at close range. She started anti-poaching campaigns with a team of her staff, who would carry out patrols rescuing some of the gorillas whose parents were killed during the raids. The gorillas in her study range soon got protection, as those in the western side of the park where she was not reaching continued to suffer the plight. Elephants were also hunted from the same forest for their ivory until when they were almost no more. Dian was later known by locals as Nyiramakabili, or Nyiramakabiri, that was directly translated as the woman who lives alone on the mountain. Her work went on well and she soon found favor and friendship with the mountain gorillas, where she befriended a silverback known as Digit. The death of Digit in 1978 was a big blow in Dian's heart, after Digit was shot as he was trying to protect a baby gorilla known as Quelly from poachers. Digit was buried at the camp at the Karisoke Research Center, but Dian's patrol efforts were strengthened as she attracted public sympathy and started getting support from international society through international bodies like African Wildlife Foundation, the World Wildlife Fund, Fauna Preservation Society and the Mountain Gorilla Project, which Dian blamed for not actively engaging in conservation through anti-poaching patrols. Dian Fossey's anti-poaching patrols led to the arrest of many poachers who were sentenced to jail, and some are still serving their sentences. Dian was murdered in 1985 in her tent at her research institute by unknown murderers, where she was found lying in a pool of blood in the early morning of December 27, 1985. Fossey is buried at Karisoke, in a site that she herself had constructed for her deceased gorilla friends. She was buried in the gorilla graveyard next to Digit, and near many gorillas killed by poachers. Memorial services were also held in New York, Washington, and California. Go hike the Dian Fossey grave as a tribute to her great work of protecting the Volcanoes mountain gorillas, which today are still existing, and you're able to come see them. Very advisable to go do the tomb hike the day after your gorilla safari in the Volcanoes forest. Volcanoes National Park is located in a small village called Musons, previously well known as Ruhengeri, which is very accessible by public transport from Gisenyi or Kigali or from the airport. The drive to Volcanoes National Park is 2 HRS and hence one can do gorilla trekking on the same day and drive back to Kigali after the trek. If you hope to trek gorillas for one day, you have to wake up very early for your journey so that you are on time. However, there isn't any public transport from Musons to the headquarters of the park at Kinigi. Activities in the park include gorilla trekking, hiking Karisimbi volcano, 3,800 m, one-day Mount Bisoke volcano hike, visiting Dian Fossey, visiting the twin lakes of Ruhondo and Bura. There are a variety of accommodation facilities within and around Volcanoes National Park ranging from luxury to mid-range and budget facilities to cater for all categories of travelers. Gorilla trekking in Volcanoes National Park takes place throughout the year, though the dry season is preferably the best time to visit the park. Besides mountain gorillas, golden monkeys are other exciting attractions that Volcanoes National Park has to offer. Unlike gorilla trekking, tracking golden monkeys in the park is much cheaper and convenient, though both activities have the same regulations. Muson's caves are also located within Volcanoes National Park and were declared a tourist site by the Rwanda Development Board in 2013. Since then, travelers to the park have been visiting the site to see the unique and amazing features of these caves. Mountain gorillas can only be found in only 2 locations in the world, and that is in Bwindi Impenetrable National Park in southwest Uganda and in the Virunga Mountains that straddle the borders of Rwanda, DR Congo, and Uganda. Volcanoes National Park is one of the 3 parks within the Virunga Mountains that protect mountain gorillas, with Virunga National Park in DR Congo and Mgahinga Gorilla National Park in Uganda completing the set. The gorilla naming ceremony, which is locally known as Kwita Izina in Kinyarwanda language, is an annual event where all the baby gorillas born within the year are given names. The ceremony is inspired by Rwanda's ancestral baby naming ceremony that was held after the birth of a newborn. The major aim of naming baby gorillas is to help in monitoring each gorilla in their groups on a daily basis as they roam their habitat. The introduction of the ceremony also aimed at bringing both local and international attention to the importance of protecting the endangered mountain gorillas. Several high-profile individuals from across the globe, including celebrities like artists and athletes as well, both local and international leaders, usually attend this gorilla naming ceremony in Rwanda. The ceremony takes place in September each year in Volcanoes National Park in northwest Rwanda. Kwita Izina is a Rwandan ceremony of giving a name to a newborn baby gorilla. It is named after the traditional baby naming ceremony that takes place after the birth of a newborn child in Rwandan culture. The ceremony's main goal is in helping monitor each individual gorilla and their groups in their natural habitat. It was created as a means of bringing attention both locally and internationally about the importance of protecting the mountain gorillas and their habitats in Volcanoes National Park in the Virunga Mountains in the north of the country. Experience one of the world's most important celebrations of nature and meet Rwanda's newborn baby gorillas. Kwita Izina is modeled off a centuries-old tradition in which Rwandans name their children in the presence of family and friends. In 2005, Rwanda began officially naming mountain gorillas in what has become a global celebration of nature. By giving a name to these majestic animals, we give them a value they undoubtedly deserve. The ceremony is an opportunity to thank the communities that live around Volcanoes National Park, our research partners, vets, and the dedicated conservationists, rangers and trackers who protect the gorillas. Over the last 19 years, 397 mountain gorillas have been named. Rwanda's Volcanoes National Park is the most popular gorilla destination, followed by Bwindi Forest National Park, and Gahinga and Virunga National Park is picking up on gorilla tourism. While in the 1980s, mountain gorillas' populations were at the verge of extinction, gorilla trekking is a sensitive activity which, when not controlled and managed strictly, may negatively impact on the lives of the mountain gorillas. In a bid to regulate the activity, the governments of Congo, Rwanda, and Uganda, the only countries with mountain gorillas, decided to make permits which are more expensive than any other wildlife permit in order to limit the number of visitors and create sustainability of the activity. Revenue collected from tourists to this park, 20% of it goes to the local communities surrounding the park and the rest to the maintenance of the infrastructure in and around the national park. Thank you for watching this video.